Season 14 is hitting next week, and we are getting our next tank hero, Hazard, officially released in the game. I am ready to talk about this stuff and give you kind of my wish list, what I want to see from this season, and kind of what I'm expecting from this season, because we do have a couple of pretty interesting, bigger things happening during this time. So let's just kind of go ahead right into it. You can see the key art here if you haven't already seen a couple of the skins, but we'll talk about that. I'm going to run you through the trailer a little. Just kind of going, piece by piece what we are looking at here. So obviously Hazard is coming in. Honestly, I'll just play it out. But I like Hazard a lot. I think he was really, really fun. I am excited to keep being able to play more of him. Finally, I'm going to talk about kind of my wish list a little later. But for me, I think Hazard is pretty well designed, and I think he might even be a little weak, but I don't know if I exactly want to see a bunch of balance changes for him. Anyways, so the biggest thing is that there is 6v6 elimination experimental, as they say. It's just, 6v6 role queue will be the first one, which we'll talk about that in the dev blog, and then they're going to have the max 3 min 1, which will be a little later in the season after another event. But yeah, they have been talking about this for a while. It's going to have different balancing. I'm excited for the balancing, but I do have one problem that I will like to say is that these 5v5 tests that we've had have not had different balancing. And I do think that changing the balance of the characters in the 6v6 test, but also like hitting system mechanics as well, like global health stuff and potentially role passives and everything, that does make me think that the experiments next to each other, there are a couple of too many variables changing. Now, that could be the dev team believes that these are things that have to exist in Overwatch 2, like the higher health and the tank passives and, tank survivability in general. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think it has to be there for the game to function, but I do think there are just too many factors being changed. And I am afraid that a lot of people are going to really like this and think that the only real reason is because it is 6v6, when I think that there are going to be a couple of other things that will influence the decision as well. Not to say that 6v6 won't be fun. I mean, obviously it is. I played 6v6 years ago, 4 years. So yeah, I like 6v6 too. I'm going to have fun with this regardless, but I do think a lot of people might kind of conflate those variables, and I do think that some of the changes that they might make for the 6v6 test would be very welcome in 5v5. That's just my opinion. I think they should have run those 5v5 tests with some of those changes as well, or just not run this test with a lot of those, just to really get into the weeds about 6v6. But anyways, Mythic skin, this is Reinhardt. This is Thor Reinhardt. I think this is a great idea for a skin. It's not like my favorite visually looking at it. Maybe it'll grow on me the more I look at it, but actually this is like the lower variant, I think, the one that you start out with. I like this one more than what they actually came up with for the higher tiers. But it's a great idea, and it's like loosely winter related. There you go. That's what he looks like when he's got like the full armor on. To me, I don't think it looks as good. I like him with the full red beard. I think that looks great. But yeah, no, Norse mythology is like semi-winter related. So I think it makes sense. I think it's a good theme. It's a very loose theme, as you'll see when we get to the other Battle Pass skins, which is a little disappointing. All right. If this is a Norse skin of any variety, I do not understand this interpretation of what character this may be. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I did. I know a little bit about Norse myth because I played God of War and then I looked up stuff afterwards because I was intrigued. But I don't quite know who this is. Same for this is, I think Queen's probably just like a basic like frost giant, or just like, ooh, I can't pronounce it. Something's like they start with an E. But you may catch me in the comment section. These skins I think look fire. These are like the kind of cyberpunk, like super like the rich people, right? I like these skins a lot. I think these look really, really cool. A really good Hazard skin, and it's on the Battle Pass. Sojourn, if there is one type of skin that I will always be okay with and I love, they are the lore skins. This was the skin that Sojourn wore in the cinematic that she got about a year ago, and I think it looks great, and I'm glad that Sojourn gets another banger skin. I feel like we went so long without Sojourn getting a skin. So this is greatly appreciated, and this Mei skin looks amazing, and it's also on the battle pass as well. I think this is, like, again, like two battle passes in a row. I can't remember the other ones. Really great lineup here. Obviously this cast one, I think this is probably his polar skin. That just looks like an epic that they'll be handing out on the battle pass as well. So I think those were some great skins. These, I don't quite understand what I'm looking at with this Juno skin. It just looks like they kind of threw moons all over her. It's not my favorite. I like this Sombra skin a lot, actually. I think this one looks really cool. I like the braid. This one I think is a little more, but it actually might be a Freya skin, but I doubt that. I don't really see anything that screams Freya to me. And then this Widow one is just, she's got some frost, so she's cold. Sure, it's winter. I think it looks nice. This Reaper skin looks pretty whatever. I don't know. This Mercy skin is actually a premium battle pass skin, I believe. It looks fine to me. I'm sure a lot of Mercy players are really gonna like it. This one's also a premium battle pass skin. I do like this one a bit too, but all right. And then there we have Cardboard, Bastion, and Diva, which are great. I'm glad we're getting more cardboard skins. They just look cute. They're really silly. This one I thought was a Dionysus skin for Lifeweaver, but the more I look at it, it's definitely not. No grapes, no wine anywhere. It looks fine. I don't see much about it. They're really not showing this I think it's the Mauga skin off very well, but I think this could look really cool depending on what his guns look like. Also kind of in that Norse, wintry idea. Winter Wonderland coming back. Nothing really new to it, unfortunately. Lunar New Year prop hunt coming back as well. Doesn't look like there's going to be as much back. Overwatch Classic already coming back. I did not expect it to come back this quickly. It seems like over the next couple of seasons, we are going to get one Overwatch Classic event per season. And of course, Moth Meta is up next. They did talk about Moth Meta being one of the ones they were eyeing. I'm interested to see what iteration of this we are going to get. Maybe they will run it where 1 week you get release Mercy, and then the next 2 weeks you're gonna get the toned down version of her. But then again, now that I say that wouldn't make much sense because that's basically what we have now. It's just older. So I don't know if that's quite the thing, but I think it's important to know that if we did release rework, I don't think Doomfist is in the game yet. So remember that Moth Meta also has Orisa with, old Orisa, right? Basically near her launch. Old Sombra, I don't exactly remember what they changed about her at that point. And also old Ana. And again, I don't remember exactly what they changed about her, but definitely old Sombra is going to feel weird. And old Ana probably doesn't have speed boost on Nano anymore, if I had to guess. But yeah, there are going to be a couple of newer things from Overwatch Classic. And of course, it won't be role locked, but it definitely will be character locked. So remember that going in. Moth Meta is a very interesting time in the game, and Mercy is, it's hard to say that she's server admin in these games, but she is definitely the most important character on the field. So just be ready for that when you play this game mode. Coming up next here, what did they show? It's Hazard again. Haha, yeah, right. And that's the season. There isn't too much to it, I don't think, except for this, which is very exciting to me. I love Avatar a lot. I think that's probably a good place to start with kind of the wish list stuff for Avatar, because I went through and I was like, oh, what skins would I want for these characters, right? I was like, this is what I want to see from the Overwatch Avatar event. And then I saw a leak. I will not talk about the leak. I am going to put these skins that I wrote down before the leak. And if you don't want to see the spoilers, go right ahead. But this does not confirm or deny any of those characters are in there, right? I'm not going to say anything about who got what or whatever. Except for the Overwatch account did confirm, obviously this is Zenyatta, who's Aang, and Toph is Venture. They did confirm that. So Venture's Season 14 skin that they couldn't talk about, That's because it was Toph. Actually very cool. Kind of sad that their first real skin was a collab skin, but same thing with Juno, whatever. Now, for the skins that I wanted to see, I think my mind immediately went to Mei for Katara because of the snow and ice is basically like water bending to the best variety. When I thought about like Zuko or stuff like that, you know, you could just do regular Zuko, but I really thought it'd be cool if they did Genji with the blue spirit, where I think it works a little better focusing on the blade and everything and focusing on its like super mobility, which is something that you really only see from, you know, Zuko obviously is very adept in combat, but the blue spirit was like a different style that I feel like fits Genji better. That's kind of what I came up with. I think you could also do Genji as Sokka if you wanted to. I don't think there's too much wrong there. And then also I feel like it was like, it's criminal if you don't put Kiri as Azula. I feel like that is just like kind of a match made in heaven. I think they're pretty similar. I think it would work really, really well. But that's kind of what I came up with. And then like as a silly funny, I think you could do like Torbjorn Iroh or something like that, because also fire, molten lava, whatever. But the really big thing that I want to talk about with this Avatar collab is that, oh my God, I want a new mode. I think we have had so many collabs recently with nothing to them. No free skin, no extra mode, no anything. I don't want this just to be a skin line. I really, really, really think the Avatar idea lends itself to a game mode so well. You just have a couple of characters that have extra like elemental effects on their abilities. That's it. You just, it could be that simple. Just please, I'm begging that we have something in that regard. Or at least one of the skins being free, although I'm just gonna go ahead and say that's not happening. But anyways, that is what I wanted to see from that. I am just gonna really quickly just go through and make sure I didn't miss anything. Obviously, Winter Wonderland's coming back, and they have a little different like setup about how this thing works. I've never really seen them go into so much detail about this, but there isn't much to this blog post, so I guess to end it off here, this is kind of the big meat and potatoes, the wish list part. I already talked about the Avatar collab. What do I want to see? Well, let's start with balance, right? I think we all can agree it's time for Kiri and Brig to be shot in the face and die. This backline has been meta for the better part of 4 months now. 3 to 4 months. They've been dominant. Literally, you can't really play anything else except for very specific circumstances. They are too good. Juno in particular is just too good still. She needs to get touched more. They need to really take a look at her uptime and what is she allowed to have up at what time and how effective she's supposed to be with it. I know I've pitched plenty in the past. I'm not going to go down that route here yet again, but Juno is really the problem. And of course, I think Brig probably does also need to get tuned down with her survivability as well. That is definitely part of the issue there as well. Now, in terms of any other character's balance, I don't think I really want them to touch Hazard so much. I think we kind of want to let him be for a little bit and see how it feels. I do think he is going to feel weak unless they do something drastic, which I'm really hoping they don't, and I'm hoping that if they do touch him, it is not in his sustain or his survivability, because I think he's perfectly fine outside of, you know, the anti-nades and stuff like that, like most tanks. So I don't want them to hit that. In fact, they might need to tone that down a little bit and put a little more power elsewhere. We'll have to see, but I would prefer that they don't touch him that much, just a couple like maybe minor tweaks here and there. Otherwise, other characters, you know, it's hard to like look at one character I would want to. Now, if you are a conspiracy theorist, you might think, okay, well, Reinhardt got the mythics this season, so Orisa and Ramatra are going to be terrible and Reinhardt's going to get a buff or something. I don't believe that. But, you know, if we are in like this Juno meta, I don't think Reinhardt, you know, obviously Reinhardt could work with Juno, but if Juno and Brig stay the same, I think there are just better tanks and better combinations that work with them other than Rein, at least like first off. So I think you'd have to really give Rein some more stuff. I don't see it happening. basically that much. Any other characters I think need to come out of the gutter. I do really hope whatever happens that Junker Queen is playable. She did just get nerfed, but they may reconsider some of it. I think it's fine, but I do really hope that we are allowed to play a little more Junker Queen, more than usual. That is. And then of course, I think the final thing I really want to talk about, and I already talked about it a little bit, is 6v6. And yeah, I'm just kind of I'm looking forward to how they're gonna roll this out. Actually, you know what? They do talk about it a little bit here. It's actually going to be running from December 17th to January 6th. So that is about 3 weeks of role queue experiment happening, which is a lot. I mean, I think the best part about that is that we really get to like sit with it, right? We get to sit with it for a while, see how it feels, see what really works. I do hope that they do a balance patch, because there are going to be characters that are going to feel probably way too good unless they're balanced, you know, especially like the tanks, they're changing them a lot. But, you know, what happens if we kind of still go into like a sustain meta? Like, what if the BAP Briggs kind of show up? What if it's like BAP Juno or something like that, right? Where it's really sustainy and it feels a lot more like the 6v6 we were trying to avoid. I do think that for the betterment of this experiment, that they should be really looking at sustain in general. That is really the crux of it. Now, the DPS passive does exist. I don't think it's going to do that much, and maybe it won't. They did say it was going to exist in this build. I think it probably won't have like an extra effect on tanks, if I had to guess, and I think that's a good thing. But that is something to consider about the role passive, right? And then they don't really talk about the Overwatch Classic mode, but I talked about it a little bit. I want there to be like a mid classic shakeup, because I'm not gonna lie, the Overwatch Classic mode to me this time, running it for 3 weeks felt like way too much. Unironically, it felt like that thing never ended. So I didn't really like appreciate it that much by the end, right? I was like, oh, it's still like just silly Overwatch. Like, I think there need to be a couple of like different changes to make you like, oh, come back. There's like this like subsection of the Moth meta that you can play this week as compared to last week. Like, I think the initial like no limits to role or hero limits was fine, but it's not the same balance, or it was the same balance patch, which really didn't change all that up too much. So I do want there to be like a little bit of like variation in there, especially like later seasons. If they ever do like goats and stuff, there are definitely different versions of goats. I don't know. I would like to see how they do it this time, kind of learning from the past one. And then also, while we're here, let's just talk about the Pink Mercy skin, which was a couple seasons ago, but they just announced that it made 12.3 million for breast cancer research, which is great, and that is like just under what it made the first time. So this was still just as lucrative for Blizzard, not for Blizzard, I'm sorry, for the breast cancer research as it was back then, which is really, really good to hear. So that is great. I'm very happy that people decided to rally behind this. Obviously, people wanted the skin, but you know, nothing wrong with re-releasing this one. And for the people who are still mad that they re-released Pink Mercy, get fucked, idiot. People get to have their lives saved because of this. So you're selfish and stupid. Anyways, that's all from that. And you know what? With that is all from me. So please, if you like this video, subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And leave me a comment down below. What are you looking forward to for season 14? And what do you like about Hazard and what do you not like, right? I do really want to hear back from you. What are you hoping to see change with him? Like the video while you're at it. I really appreciate it. This is stream live, twitch.tv/Lane Hemingway. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays is when I stream. You should check me out if you want. I always do discussions live. Join in when you can, and join my Discord down below. Always something to talk about. Some people talking about the new trailer today as well. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching, and please have a good day.